From the 101 Recap Book 1, Story and Commentary for the Movie Extraordinary. Everybody on this other Earth obtains a superpower at the age of 18, which can range from flying to controlling the elements. But Jen is 25 years old and still hasn't found hers, which pisses her off greatly. She finds out during a job interview that the boss's power is pressuring individuals to reveal the truth, which makes her say a lot of awkward things and loses the opportunity. Jen catches up with Luke, her casual partner, in the evening. After they're through, Luke waits for Jen to exit the house before jumping out of the window. He consistently performs the same action, which makes Jen feel undervalued. Carrie, Jen's roommate, works in a lawyer's office the following day. Lawyers hire her to solve cases because of her ability to temporarily allow the souls of the dead to inhabit her body. Sadly, this makes her enemies because they think she's interfering. When Jen gets home in the afternoon, she opens the door to let a lost cat in. Subsequently, she mocks Carrie's boyfriend Cash for attempting to put on a homemade superhero costume. Feeling embarrassed, Cash employs his time-traveling ability and hastily shuts the door to prevent Jen from noticing him. Jen encourages Carrie to resign when she arrives, but Carrie can't as she needs to support Cash until he finds employment. Soon after, Carrie also shows up. She sobs as she expresses how exhausted she is of people taking it out on her. Carrie then channeling Hitler to lighten the mood so they can make fun of him. Gordon, who Carrie meets later for a date, won't shake her hand without a glove since he has the ability to make people climax with the slightest touch. Following a lovely meal, they head to Jen's house, but Gordon declines to use his influence since he wants to show that he can be a decent guy for a lady by nature. Jen had to fake it as he is terrible at doing the naughty thing with the gloves on and kisses her with plastic between their faces. Gordon then closes his eyes and goes to sleep, placing a pillow between him and Jen so he won't wake up touching her. As Cash and Carrie are walking down the street, all of a sudden, an unseen man takes Carrie's phone and demands to see her bag. Rather than turning back time, Cash grabs Carrie and throws his wallet at him. After that, Cash says he wants to become a real superhero because he enjoyed fending off the robber. When Jen wakes up the following morning, she tries to touch Gordon but stops when she notices the cat jumping on the bed. Gordon is eventually touched by the cat first, who then awakens him up by yelling with passion. Gordon leaves, telling Jen that they are incompatible, seeming disgusted. The three decide to keep the cat after eating breakfast, naming him Jizzlord in honor of what he did on the bed. Jen rides a cab to her half-sister's birthday celebration in the evening. The driver says she should be on the lookout for bears but won't tell her the specific time someone will pass away. Her father calls her while she is traveling, reminding her to be a nice sister. Jen meets her lover Ian, who can detect emotions, and her mother Mary, who can command technology but is unable to control it, in the house. Ian must use his abilities to defuse the issue after Jen points out that her half-sister Andy may not receive any capabilities on her 18th birthday. She waits for her powers to manifest when Andy eventually blows out the candles, but nothing occurs. Jen, looking smug, is enjoying the moment, but she tears the fridge door off as Andy opens it. Andy is thrilled to demonstrate her new superpower, while a resentful Jen walks out while sipping alcohol. Jen chooses to go see Luke at that precise moment because he has been snubbing her texts. Jen gets irritated when she discovers him eating supper with another lady who has the ability to shapeshift, but hardly uses it, suggesting she's inherently attractive. Jen makes Luke take the girl on a flight after he takes her out, and vice versa. After a brief journey, Luke tells Jen that their relationship is ended and that she cannot love another person until she has loved herself. He then drops Jen off on the street. Jen contacts her father on the way home to ask for consolation. But when she gets there, it turns out that her father has passed away and Carrie calls on his spirit to help Jen when she needs it. Jen and Carrie visit the Discovery Clinic the following day to find out about therapies that could aid in her awakening her powers. All of it is very costly, though, and she is unable to pay for it. That evening as Jen is asleep, Jizzlord abruptly changes from a cat to a human, but before Jen can see him, he rapidly returns to his original form. Jen's next thought is to use stress to channel her powers, so she and her pals head to a restaurant and order the spiciest food on the menu. She unfortunately can't take it, and hurries to the shop to finish a bottle of milk, which makes the situation much more awkward when Luke and the security cameras witness it. Carrie takes Jen to the dentist the next day so she can try stress once more. When Jen tries to flee, Carrie pulls her inside, and eerie music begins to play. The dentist has the ability to let clients create their own soundtracks, and Jen's music shifts from menacing to calming as she demonstrates her caring nature. Sadly, the dentist informs Jen that she needs fillings in her teeth, and her music turns spooky once more. The dentist gives her some medication to help her relax. Cash calls a publicity company in the interim to place a call for superheroes. Jizzlord changes back into a man in the other room, although he still struggles to walk normally. To draw Cash's attention, he scratches the door, but when Cash goes to see how he's doing, Jizzlord has turned back into a cat. Coming full circle, Jen leaves her session feeling extremely disoriented. As Carrie leads her outside, they observe a man in a mask suddenly come toward them, grab Jen, and force her into the trunk. This is Cash, who conspired with Carrie to stage this abduction in order to increase tension. The couple chooses to go for lunch and give Jen some space, but she is so ill that she calls Luke on his voicemail and tells him how much she loves him. It's too late for Cash and Carrie to realize the automobile is being towed because they are preoccupied. When Carrie contacts Jen to ask for her pinned location, they dash to the auto lot, where Cash acknowledges that he doesn't have a license and the car belongs to his mother, making it illegal for him to legally take it. After breaking into the impound lot covertly, they discover they are without the car key. To make matters worse, the medication wears off, causing Jen to get frightened. They are forced to phone Andy, who smugly insists that Jen politely requests the favor. Andy proceeds to simply tear off the trunk hood as Jen puts on a beautiful front. Carrie struggles to keep the sisters apart, while Jen tries to beat her up. The girls are startled to learn that Mary and Ian have arrived to fetch them up when they hear the sound of a car horn. Jen remembers that she left a voicemail for Luke and requests her mother to remove it while Mary chastises her daughter. Despite Mary's best efforts, she is unable to manage her power and ultimately plays the message over the car's speakers. Andy proposes that Jen send Luke unsolicited messages to divert his attention from the voicemail. Jen begins snapping inappropriate photos to send to Luke as soon as she gets home. She panics and flees the room as she suddenly witnesses Jizzlord changing into a man. She does, however, also question whether she has the ability to change animals by exposing her chest to them. When her companions arrive, the man reveals that he is a shapeshifter who is trapped in his feline form. Subsequently, he embraces Cash, declaring his forgetfulness and being relieved that others can now again see his true face. After asking him a few questions and hearing what little he can recall, the three of them decide he has been a cat for around 3 years. They continue to call him Jizzlord. Jen determines that they have to hold him till his memory returns. Jen receives a text at that precise moment from Luke, who believes Jen is strange because he heard the voicemail in addition to seeing the photographs. When Jen encounters a dog later that evening while out for a walk, she tests her theory by flashing her chest. The dog remains unchanged, and its owner eventually gets to see her too. The friends find out the following morning that Jizzlord will need a lot of assistance because he has forgotten how to utilize many common household items. At work, Carrie channels the spirit of a well-known musician who declines a deal to have her songs played in cruise ship elevators and instead requests to return to the business. Following the meeting, the manager extends to Carrie an offer, which she gladly takes. She might collaborate with them by using her psychic abilities to bring deceased celebrities back to life. She phones Jen as soon as she arrives at the recording studio, offering to pay her for Jen's attendance and asking for moral support. Jen gets an idea from this and shows up at the studio posing as Carrie's manager, which enables her to close a lucrative deal for Carrie. When it comes time to record, Carrie channels the singer they like, but she finds out he's really chauvinist and difficult to work with. When the ghost vanishes, Carrie looks for his songs but discovers they are all misogynistic and bigoted. The ghost even begs Jen to help him recall his lyrics. Jen persuades Carrie to stay despite her discomfort and desire to go in order to get the money. Carrie modifies the songs to make them less offensive in the hopes that the ghost's terrible memory won't notice. But regrettably, the singer finds the nice message offensive and creates a big scene. Jen and Carrie are both dismissed right away. Interviews for Cash's superhero team are conducted back at the house with several applicants. Seb can make a fish fly through the window and summon sea animals, but he cannot control them. Despite this, Cash recruits him since his family is wealthy. Ade is also recruited, despite the fact that he can pass through solid objects and wind up with his hand trapped within a wall. The woman with the magnet powers attracts everything in the house due to her lack of control, so Cash rejects her along with the man who can turn anything into a PDF and the person whose eye lasers are ineffective. Randall shows off his ability to 3D print things with his buttocks by creating a little figurine. Gregor finally demonstrates his super speed by delivering a postcard from the British Museum in a matter of seconds. Later, while Cash is preparing for the first formal meeting, Jizzlord unexpectedly shows up with a dead pigeon. Sending Jizzlord to do the groceries is Cash's way of preventing him from embarrassing himself in front of the others. Jizzlord is so overwhelmed by everything at the store that he passes out when he sees the merchandise for women. He receives instant assistance from the clerk, who also gives him a book on women's anatomy to help him understand the merchandise. Rewinding to Cash, he observes Gregor taking over the board writing while he meets with his newfound superhero friends. Gregor has a lot to say as well, and Cash thinks he's attempting to usurp his position as leader. They debate how they would respond if they had to save a lady after Randall leaves a mark with his buttocks. Gregor asserts that he ought to take the lead as he respects all women, while Cash argues that he is the superior option since he is an expert on the anatomy of women. When Seb sketches a woman's intimate parts on the board, he asks Cash to locate the happy place, a place Cash is unaware of. Fortunately, Jizzlord returns and aids him, allowing Cash to continue leading. Carrie and Jen find Cash and Jizzlord playing a game they made with the lady items when they return home after hearing some strange noises. So they all play together. The magnet woman returns later, having forgotten her umbrella, and she instantly clings to Jizzlord, indicating that he has been microchipped. The gang makes the decision to take Jizzlord to visit Dr. Doolittle, an animal-talking veterinarian. He wears headphones to block out the noise because he is often stressed out from hearing their cries. Doolittle discovers the microchip as soon as Jen brings Jizzlord and provides them with the previous owner's address. Later, when Cash and Carrie are getting down to business, out of the blue, Cash gets a text concerning an assignment from his new team. Carrie gets upset when he tells her they can finish this another time, so Cash goes back in time to say something kind, but he departs nevertheless. Carrie rushes to Jen's room to start cleaning as a diversion, and in her annoyance Jen realizes that Cash hasn't made Carrie feel good in a long time. Jen finds Gordon's glove at that same moment, and emails him a picture of the sock Luke left behind. Carrie refuses to cheat when Jen suggests that she go to Gordon and beg him to utilize his powers. When Jen and Jizzlord eventually get around to visiting the address listed on the microchip, they discover that the owner has passed away. They learn that Jizzlord has encountered Tito the Pomeranian before when they hear him bark and he calls him nasty. Tito dislikes Jizzlord and won't divulge any information unless they grant him his ideal day out, so the two decide to remove him from his master and bring him to Doolittle. Doolittle joins them since he also wants a break. After arriving at a club, the group finds Tito enjoying the attention that attractive women give him. The others smoke a few cigarettes and drink a lot of alcohol. Jen and Jizzlord hold hands out of mutual support when they are made to feel too uncomfortable during a private dance by a woman who is a copy of herself. Doolittle soon becomes so drunk that the bouncers kick the gang out as he begins to abuse the dancers. Fortunately, Tito is overjoyed and tells that he used to frequently run into Jizzlord in an alleyway behind a well-known bar. Then, when he begs for their release so that he might at last be free, he is struck by a car a short while after taking a few steps. Next, while searching for clues in the alley, Jen and Jizzlord surprise themselves by having Jizzlord recite the pub's menu. While Jen believes they should go inside to locate the landlady, Jizzlord freaks out and flees. While everything is going on, Cash's superhero team tries to assist a stranger on the street, but instead they frighten her and unintentionally unleash her goo power, which infuriates her. Ade is sent to the task when a man who has been locked out of his residence calls for assistance at that very moment. In order to use his power, he must undress, and as he begins to pass through the wall, he becomes stuck with his behind on display. After making the decision to leave Cash with Ade, Gregor leads the others to a pub. Shortly after, Cash receives a call from Gregor requesting his assistance. Ade is left alone himself while Cash dashes to locate the team. Gregor wants Cash to turn back time to stop the group from fighting outside the pub, but Cash can only go back 10 seconds, and no matter how many times he tries, it won't be enough. Cash pretends he doesn't know the others and flees as a thug suddenly chases him. After Carrie eventually loses her patience at home, she visits Gordon with the justification that she needs to return his glove. When Gordon reaches out, Carrie breaks down in tears and begs for his assistance, but she acknowledges she is powerless to help. She names Gordon a hero for saving her and offers an apology. This cheers Gordon up immensely, and he begins assisting more women. Jen discovers Jizzlord outside their apartment, and informs him that the pub was a dead end while Carrie meets up with Cash. They connect over their shared dread of realizing who they are, but just as they are about to get close, Luke interrupts them with a text asking for his sock. Aude remains visible to everyone the following day, permanently adhered to the wall. While all is going on, Jen and Carrie visit Andy's graduation at their old high school, and Carrie can't stop daydreaming about the ideal graduation ceremony. Mary pretends that Jen can read minds when the mother of a different student approaches the family. However, the story backfires when Jen laughs at the woman's attempt to telepathically inform her that a teacher has passed away. Ian feels that someone is in distress nearby at that very moment, so he puts on a blindfold to increase his strength and locate that person. Enraged, Jen pulls Carrie into a closet to sip the booze they stashed there years before. They start to fear when they hear Rebecca's voice, the girl who used to bully them in high school, speaking. She does, however, now work as a teacher and is a very pleasant person. Rebecca says that because she has the ability to go back in time and relive past experiences, she has become a better person and has realized how awful she was in the past. She is not believed by Jen, who demands payment as an apology. Rebecca brings Carrie to the staff lounge to get some tea after noticing that she is really nervous. Now that they are by themselves, Rebecca can demonstrate to Carrie why Jen was a terrible friend by bringing up old school memories. Jen made Carrie stay with her as moral support as she took a pregnancy test on the day she was slated to receive an award. Jen stole Carrie's graduation gown later on graduation day, but she didn't return it in time, ruining Carrie's picture, and she didn't want her mother to know. Carrie is told by Rebecca that she must advocate for herself. Jen, in the meantime, hears Andy speaking to her girlfriend while hiding to get a drink in the restroom. As a result of her tremendous power, Andy is no longer seeing her girlfriend, and it turns out that she lied to get into the conservatoire. Jen approaches Andy as soon as the ex departs, and he offers to do whatever as long as Jen keeps the information a secret. When the sisters arrive back at the party, Jen makes Andy perform the family dance in front of everyone, embarrassing her. Jen then assigns Andy to read a humiliating speech. After reading the horrible remarks, Andy becomes enraged and begins to make fun of her sister in return, which prompts Jen to divulge her secrets. This leads to Andy accepting her award. Andy is so distraught that he flees in tears, and Ian discovers that the disturbed individual he was feeling was actually his own daughter. Then it's Carrie's turn to speak, but she has trouble speaking because she can hear Jen's family fighting in the adjacent room from the auditorium. After realizing that Rebecca was correct about Jen, Carrie heads to the restroom to hide. Jen enters at that point and begins to babble about her life, which makes Carrie finally lose it and confront her about her conceit, emphasizing that lacking abilities is not a justification for being a horrible person. After a disagreement, Carrie flees, leaving Jen to grieve by herself. Gizelord returns to the flat to discover Cash in the tub, sad over his actions the previous night and feeling bad about them. To lift his spirits, Gizelord gives him a hair brushing and plays films of penguins falling, but while they peruse the video library, they come across a recording of Cash fleeing the altercation that has gone viral. Cash's attitude rapidly declines once more. Gizelord must serve as their go-between because Jen and Carrie won't communicate with one another throughout the course of the next few days. When Jen discovers red dots on the majority of the apartment's items one morning, she discovers that Carrie has labeled everything to prevent Jen from using it. Jen's breakfast options are limited to a red onion because she hasn't purchased many items for their house. Jen then visits a discovery clinic with the intention of finishing those exams. She meets Hannah, a 20-something non-powered girl, while completing the papers. The girls bond over their experiences of being helpless at a bar. They become so enraged when they later witness a woman who has the ability to change the color of her hair that they play a practical joke on her by cutting her ponytail because they know she can grow it back. But they have to flee as soon as they realize they cut the wrong woman's hair. When Carrie discovers Cash's embarrassing film at the flat, she advises him to start again by apologizing to his friends. Gizelord takes advantage of the opportunity to ask Carrie why she and Jen are fighting after Cash accepts the proposal and heads out to find his teammates. As Carrie continues to rant about Jen, she stumbles over their collection of puzzles and remembers their fun moments together, regretting that they never got around to complete them. When Jen returns, Carrie retaliates by refusing to call Jen's father any longer. Jen claims she has a new best friend and that the jigsaw collection is hers. Cash pays Seb a visit in the interim as he is heading to Florida to move on from the incident. Seb begs to accompany Cash, sobbing and giving him a chocolate as a token of apology. After Cash and Seb visit Ade, the latter accepts Cash's apologies and concurs that they ought to reunite the squad. When they next see Gregor, Cash tries to make amends, but she finds out that Gregor and Randall have started a new team with the other rejected people. When Gregor begins making fun of his former comrades, Cash becomes enraged and challenges him to a brawl. Because Gregor moves so rapidly, Cash eventually chooses to go back in time and hit Gregor as soon as he opens the door. Randall is then extended an invitation to join them. Jen is astonished to hear Hannah won't be going to the clinic when they later meet. The girls make the decision to spend the day together having fun and talking about starting a group for people without powers while hurling toy darts at people who are in the air. Hannah becomes outraged as Jen hides the toy gun and Luke flies by. Jen consents to enter the clinic covertly in order to deface the offices, even peeing on a desk, as payback for her actions. When Hannah unexpectedly vanishes and finds out she has teleportation abilities, Jen becomes envious, but Hannah assures Jen that their relationship won't alter. But as soon as a guard discovers them, Hannah vanishes. When Jen checks social media later at the flat, she is upset to see that Hannah is hanging out with Luke. Gizelord points her that they should make up and informs her that Carrie wants to complete the puzzle with her. When Jen visits Carrie, they get to work on the puzzle together. They are uneasy at first, but their bond gradually improves. Carrie drives Jen to the clinic the following day so she can complete the paperwork at last. Jen, attempting to be less self-centered, asks Carrie about her issues, and she admits that their relationship is deteriorating now that Cash has his squad back. Jen then tries to sell her eggs to raise the cash needed for the procedure, but no one is interested in purchasing them. She gets an idea from watching Gizelord. He ought to compete in a cat show and win because of his human intelligence. But Gizelord won't change since he doesn't want to become stuck once more. Carrie returns to her work at the company in the meantime and continues to flirt with Charles II. He fascinates and flatters Carrie so much that she calls him back later at home, where they converse for the entire afternoon. Charles compliments her even more once she shows him how she appears using a mirror. She then wants to go on a full date day with Cash, but he says he has to go since he has a task. Feeling let down, Carrie chooses to bring Charles's ghost to the gallery, where he views the portraits that have been painted of him. Carrie nearly kisses Charles's image when he begins to flirt with her, but a guard intervenes in time to stop her. After returning home, Carrie hears Jen cry as she learns that Gizelord has consumed cat chow in order to change once more. In addition, he recorded his consent to be brought to the cat show. Jen takes the name of the cat from the chip when they attempt to register, and everyone becomes excited because this cat was usually popular in this contest. Jen finds out that dancing used to be a part of Gizelord's talent segment while watching old show tapes. She attempts to get Gizelord to practice the motions right away, but he doesn't comprehend her, so she considers giving up. But after hearing Gizelord's encouraging message once more, she resolves to make him proud, so she devises a scheme. Jen tries to get the cat to jump through a hoop when it's time to perform, but he refuses to comply. She then begins to dance, and Gizelord transforms into a human to accompany her. They have a great time dancing together, but they are forced to leave since the judges don't think they should. Gizelord tries to apologize as they are leaving, but Jen gives him a kiss instead. While searching for dealers in an abandoned building, Cash's squad finds Gregor's team there as well. They argue until they hear footsteps, at which point they all run to hide inside a cupboard. Cash doesn't want to share the spotlight, so the teams won't come out for hours. The others tease him for prioritizing his ego above going on his date. Carrie is enjoying herself immensely while eating dinner with Charles II at the apartment. Carrie is relieved when Cash shows up and declares he's leaving the superhero industry just as things are about to get messy. But when Cash decides on pizza and YouTube once more, she starts to question whether they're a good fit. The newspapers the following day report that both superhero teams collaborated to take down the dealers. Jen assumes that Gizelord and her will now be a couple and finds out when she wakes up that he is painting the bedroom wall. After telling him that everything is happening too quickly, Jen and Carrie converse. After Jen is able to speak with her father once again, she counsels Carrie to be truthful with Cash. Carrie wants to end their relationship, but he tells her he's throwing a party, so she puts it off till later. Carrie is overjoyed to see that Cash has created all the decorations for his beloved girlfriend's birthday in the evening, but Jen kindly reminds her to advocate for herself. Jen is startled to see Mary there, criticizing every detail of the space as well as Jen's appearance. Angry, she sends her to speak with another visitor, who happens to be Gordon, who appears to be more self-assured and stylish. As Mary mingles, she strikes up a conversation with Gizelord, who informs her that Jen cannot afford the treatment. Mary is upset that her daughter chose not to tell her family about that. In the meantime, Carrie at last confides in Cash that she prefers to be his mother to his lover. Carrie advises Cash to acquire a job as he wants to know how to fix it. Then, to impress her, he turns back time and before she can speak with him, he appears to be on the phone setting up an interview. But as soon as she disappears from view, Cash runs to the restroom with Randall in a panic because he has been postponing the breakup conversation. It finds out that every time Carrie attempted to end their relationship, Cash turned back time and had been awake for 28 hours. To keep his power going, Randall gives him an energy drink, and the two of them head out to buy a ton more cans. Jen keeps a distance from them until she runs into Luke, who is concerned that she hasn't been responding to his texts. Jen drags Gizelord away to chastise him for moving too quickly and tells him they need some time off when he abruptly interrupts them and announces himself as her lover. Jen runs into her room at that precise moment to see her mother breaking into her computer after Cash alerts her that someone is in there. Their terrible relationship sparks a quarrel, but when Jen's father passes away, the tension eases. Jen, who is feeling bad, asks Mary to stay. As Carrie finds a dead flower in Cash's pocket, he tries to dance with her in the meanwhile. He notices that her own bloom is still fine and realizes that Cash has been turning back time a lot. Not realizing that Gizelord is actually leaving the flat permanently, Carrie hides with Jen and they begin to rage about Cash. Jen assigns Cash to watch Carrie while she goes to the bathroom to empty the cans into the toilet after telling her about the energy drinks. Weeping, Carrie ends their relationship, and no matter how many times Cash rewinds, he is powerless to stop it. Returning to Jen, she is thrilled when Luke offers to take her flying, but he takes her outside and won't touch her in front of everyone. Jen knows he's just jealous when he starts whining about Gizelord. She dumps Luke and heads back to the party after realizing how much she values Gizelord and defending him. When Jen is unable to locate Gizelord anywhere, she becomes irrationally frantic and ventures outdoors to look for him while chasing a cat across the street. Jen asks the cat to be her boyfriend and apologizes as it begins to rain, but Gizelord suddenly appears behind her. When they get back to the flat after exchanging passionate kisses, Jen introduces Gizelord as her lover. Gordon intervenes and donates the money when Mary tries to assist her daughter with the clinic but finds it too costly. Now that he has sold his services, he is well off. As the females embrace in celebration, Gizelord gives Gordon an embrace that stains his clothes. When Gizelord goes to the grocery shop the following morning, a girl points at him and claims he's her father. Her mother knows his face and drops her goods. Extraordinary, 2023, a charming superhero tale with relatable twists. The Unordinary Ordinary. Extraordinary is a 2023 British comedy series that follows Jen, a 25-year-old woman living in a world where everyone has superpowers, except her. The show explores her journey of self-discovery and navigating life as the ordinary, one in a world of the extraordinary. Extraordinary strengths. Relatable heroine, Jen is a funny, self-deprecating protagonist who viewers can easily root for. Her struggles with self-doubt and finding her place in the world resonate with a broad audience. Humor with heart. The show cleverly blends humor with genuine heart, creating a warm and engaging viewing experience. Superhero satire. The series subtly satirizes the superhero genre by focusing on the everyday challenges of living with superpowers, adding a refreshing twist. Room for improvement. Formulaic episodes. The episodic structure can feel a bit repetitive at times, with Jen encountering a new, powered person each episode and learning a lesson. World-building light. The show doesn't delve deeply into the origins of superpowers or the societal implications of their existence, leaving some viewers wanting more world-building. Limited stakes. The stakes in the series remain relatively low, creating a more lighthearted tone compared to superhero stories with high-octane action. The power of being you. Despite its limitations, Extraordinary offers a heartwarming message. You don't need superpowers to be extraordinary. It celebrates individuality, finding value in ordinary life, and the importance of friendship and connection. Recommendation. Extraordinary is a charming and funny series perfect for those looking for a lighthearted escape with a relatable protagonist. However, if you crave complex narratives with high stakes and deep dives into superhero lore, you might find it lacking.